What if everything you know about breaking bad habits is wrong? You've probably been told that overcoming destructive patterns is all about willpower, digging deep, trying harder, and pushing through. What if breaking bad patterns isn't about effort, but understanding what keeps you stuck? Your brain's reward system, which traps us in bad habits, can also help us break free. And the best part? You don't need superhuman discipline. Instead, the answer is hidden in something far simpler: curiosity. Your brain isn't working against you, it's doing exactly what it's designed to do. All habits, good or bad, follow a loop, a trigger, a behavior, and a reward. Instead of forcing yourself to change, you can use this system to your advantage. With a sense of wonder, you can disrupt the loop and rewrite the script. Why some people seem to overcome even the toughest challenges effortlessly? It's not because they're stronger or more disciplined. They've discovered how to work with their brains, not against them. Trying harder isn't the solution, it's often the problem. When we rely solely on willpower, we're fighting against deeply ingrained patterns. It's exhausting, and it rarely works long-term. Think about the last time you tried to break a habit. It could be swearing off junk food, committing to a new workout routine, or quitting social media. How long did it last? A week? A month? The truth is, most of us relapse because we're using brute force to fight habits that are hardwired into our brains. Instead of pushing harder, what if we tried something easier and more effective? Imagine using curiosity to unlock the exact mechanisms that keep you stuck, transforming your habits from the inside out. Before we explore this breakthrough approach, it's important to understand why most traditional advice on self-improvement keeps us in the same cycles. Let's take a closer look at the roots of our habits and the surprising science behind how they form. Trauma is a survival tool, a mechanism embedded in our biology to keep us safe in moments of danger. It prepares us to fight, flee, or freeze, activating a cascade of responses in our bodies to ensure survival. For our ancestors, this system was crucial. Escaping predators or responding to life-threatening events required swift action. But in today's world, the threats we face are rarely physical. Instead, they're emotional and psychological: a demanding job, a toxic relationship, or financial stress. Yet our brains can't always tell the difference. That same survival mechanism activates, flooding us with stress hormones and keeping us on high alert. Over time, this can erode our well-being as the system designed to protect us begins to sabotage us. Trauma shapes how we respond to the world, often leading us to seek comfort in ways that provide immediate relief but cause harm over time. This is the foundation of the cycles we struggle to escape. Now imagine a different scenario. What if you could understand how these mechanisms work and regain control? What if, instead of being a prisoner to old patterns, you could rewrite the script? Freedom from these cycles starts with awareness. By identifying the connection between trauma and habits, you can begin to disrupt the automatic responses that keep you stuck. This isn't about erasing trauma or pretending it didn't happen. It's about acknowledging its impact and learning how to respond in healthier ways. When you recognize the role of trauma in shaping your habits, you create space for intentional change. You can begin to replace harmful coping mechanisms with choices that support your growth and well-being. However, the danger of leaving trauma unresolved is significant. When the survival brain stays stuck in overdrive, it becomes harder to make rational decisions. Instead, emotional triggers lead us to behaviors that offer temporary comfort but create lasting consequences. Think of habits like overeating, excessive drinking, or compulsive social media use. Each of these behaviors starts as a way to cope with stress, sadness, or fear. They offer an immediate reward, soothing the discomfort for a moment. But over time, these patterns reinforce themselves, becoming automatic responses that are difficult to break. Unchecked, these habits can snowball, impacting not just physical health, but mental clarity, relationships, and self-esteem. The longer these patterns persist, the harder they become to unravel. Take Jake, for example. After losing his job unexpectedly, he was left feeling defeated and unsure of his next steps. Nights became his escape, scrolling endlessly through social media until the early hours. At first, it seemed harmless, a way to distract himself from the stress and uncertainty. But over time, this habit snowballed. The late nights meant he was groggy in the mornings, barely making it out of bed. Coffee became his crutch, but the caffeine highs were followed by energy crashes. He began skipping meals and reaching for quick, sugary snacks instead. His frustration grew, and he found himself snapping at loved ones over small things. Jake's temporary escape had turned into a cycle of exhaustion and self-doubt. The social media scrolling, once a way to unwind, now felt like a trap, stealing hours from his day and leaving him feeling more isolated than ever. Each time he tried to break free, the comfort of his old habits pulled him back. This is how habits can quietly take over, becoming chains that hold us back. What starts as a small coping mechanism can grow into something that controls us, leaving us stuck in a loop of avoidance and frustration. Jake's story is all too common, and it highlights the profound connection between trauma and the habits we form to cope. This isn't about weakness or lack of willpower. It's about how our brains are wired to seek safety and comfort in the face of discomfort. But understanding this connection is the first step toward breaking free. Understanding how trauma shapes habits is the first step. Next, let's explore how mindfulness helps us break free from these patterns. Let's explore the origins of these habits and uncover why breaking them can feel so challenging. What if I told you that your cravings aren't the enemy? It might sound strange, but those urges you fight so hard to suppress, whether it's the need to overeat, check your phone, or light another cigarette, are trying to teach you something. Imagine a craving as a knock at the door. It's not there to scare you. It's your brain asking you to look closer at what you need. By listening to these signals, instead of battling them, you can start to understand what's truly driving your behaviors. And once you understand, you can begin to break free. This approach, tuning in to what your body and mind are trying to tell you, may sound counterintuitive, but it's at the heart of a practice that's transforming the way we think about mental health. Mindfulness. In the years ahead, mindfulness is set to become a cornerstone of modern therapy, not just as a tool for relaxation, but as a method for rewiring the brain. By using mindfulness, people are learning to approach their cravings, triggers, and habits with curiosity instead of judgment. Science is showing us that this shift in perspective doesn't just help us manage behaviors, it can fundamentally change the way we relate to ourselves. But ignoring cravings, or trying to force them away, only makes them stronger. Think of it like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The more pressure you apply, the harder it pushes back. When we suppress cravings, we miss an opportunity to understand the needs they're trying to meet. Instead, they bubble up stronger, catching us off guard when we're tired, stressed, or vulnerable. Over time, this cycle of suppression and relapse strengthens the very habits we're trying to escape. The alternative? Learning to sit with our cravings and observe them without reacting. This isn't about giving in. It's about recognizing cravings as temporary experiences that come and go. So, how do we start? It begins with a simple, actionable mantra. Notice, get curious, let go, repeat. Notice. The first step is awareness. When a craving arises, pause and acknowledge it. Instead of pushing it away or giving in, simply notice it. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it tightness in your chest? A flutter in your stomach? Label the craving for what it is, an urge, not a command. Get curious. Now, instead of judging the craving, approach it with curiosity. Ask yourself, what triggered this? What does this craving feel like right now? Dive into the sensations without attaching a story to them. By observing the craving closely, you'll start to see it for what it is, just a collection of temporary sensations. Let go. As you explore the craving, you might notice it begins to lose its grip. This is your opportunity to let go, not by suppressing it, but by allowing it to pass. Cravings, like waves, rise and fall. When you let them flow without resistance, they lose their power. Repeat. Breaking habits isn't about one big breakthrough. It's about small, consistent shifts. Every time you practice this cycle, you're rewiring your brain, teaching it a new way to respond to triggers. At first, this process might feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar. That's okay. Change isn't about getting it perfect, it's about showing up and trying again. Over time, what once felt overwhelming will begin to feel manageable, even empowering. When we adopt this practice, the dynamics start to shift. What once felt like an unstoppable force, those cravings that kept us stuck, become something we can observe, understand, and eventually transform. What if healing didn't have to take years? What if, instead of months or even decades of therapy, a single breakthrough moment could shift your perspective and unlock lasting change? It may sound radical, but transformative healing isn't always about time. It's about finding the right tools and using them in a way that resonates with your needs. Some of the most impactful strategies are simple, yet profound. They don't require massive investments of time or resources, but they do require an open mind and a willingness to try something new. Let's explore two of the most effective approaches that are redefining what healing looks like: self-compassion and yoga. Self-compassion might seem like a buzzword, but its impact on healing is profound. At its core, self-compassion is the practice of treating yourself with kindness and understanding, especially during moments of struggle or failure. Most of us are our own harshest critics. When we make mistakes, we often respond with self-judgment, blame, or frustration. Over time, this negative self-talk chips away at our confidence and sense of worth, creating barriers to growth. Self-compassion flips the script. It invites us to acknowledge our imperfections without shame and to see them as part of the shared human experience. By embracing this mindset, we create a safe internal environment where healing can flourish. Why it works: reduces stress. Research shows that self-compassion activates the body's calming system, reducing cortisol levels and promoting relaxation. Builds resilience. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we're better equipped to handle setbacks and challenges. Improves mental health. Self-compassion has been linked to lower levels of anxiety and depression and greater overall well-being. How to practice self-compassion? Start with these simple steps. Notice your inner critic. Pay attention to the moments when you're hard on yourself. Recognize the voice of self-criticism as a habit, not a truth. Reframe the narrative. When you catch yourself being harsh, pause and ask, how would I respond to a friend in this situation? Offer yourself the same kindness. Practice self-soothing. When emotions feel overwhelming, try placing a hand on your heart or taking a deep breath. These small gestures signal safety to your nervous system. By consistently practicing self-compassion, you build an internal foundation of support and resilience, key elements for lasting healing. Yoga and movement. Reconnecting with the body. Trauma often disconnects us from our bodies. Whether it's tension in the shoulders, a tight chest, or a constant sense of restlessness, the physical effects of emotional pain are real. Yoga offers a way to bridge the gap, combining movement, breath, and mindfulness to help us feel grounded and present. Unlike traditional exercise, yoga isn't just about physical fitness. It's a holistic practice that teaches you to listen to your body, to honor its limits, and to move with intention. For those who have experienced trauma, this reconnection can be profoundly healing. Why it works: regulates the nervous system. Yoga helps shift the body out of a fight or flight state and into a rest and digest mode, promoting relaxation and recovery. Builds awareness. Through mindful movement, yoga teaches you to notice and release tension stored in the body. Cultivates safety. The practice encourages you to reconnect with your body in a way that feels safe and empowering. How to get started with yoga. Focus on the breath. Begin with simple breathing exercises. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold for a moment, and exhale slowly. This can calm the mind and body. Try gentle poses. Start with restorative poses like child's pose, cat-cow, or legs up the wall. These movements are accessible and soothing. Find what feels right. Explore different styles of yoga, whether it's restorative, yin, or a beginner's class, to find a practice that resonates with you. Yoga isn't about perfect poses or flexibility, it's about reconnecting with yourself. Even a few minutes a day can create noticeable shifts in how you feel physically and emotionally. True healing starts with small, meaningful steps. By focusing on practices like self-compassion and mindful movement, you begin to lay the foundation for lasting change. These tools are more than just methods. They are pathways to a meaningful connection with yourself and your intentions. Refute objection. You've probably heard the advice to just be yourself. It sounds simple, almost cliché, but is it really? In a world filled with societal expectations, peer pressure, and curated social media personas, being yourself often feels anything but easy. The truth is, many of us don't even know what being yourself truly means. Are we the version of ourselves we show to others? Are we the person who conforms to what's expected? Or are we something deeper, something we've yet to fully discover? Authenticity isn't just about peeling back the layers. It's about facing hard truths, letting go of roles that don't serve us, and daring to embrace who we really are. Living inauthentically, pretending to be someone you're not, is exhausting. It means constantly second-guessing yourself, putting on a facade, and striving to meet expectations that don't align with your values. Over time, this disconnect creates stress, dissatisfaction, and even resentment. It's like walking around in shoes that don't fit. The longer you wear them, the more painful it gets. Now compare that to living truthfully. When you align your actions with your core values and beliefs, you experience a sense of ease and freedom. The energy once spent on maintaining appearances is redirected toward pursuing what genuinely matters. Truthfulness doesn't mean you'll never face challenges, but it does mean those challenges will feel worth it, because they align with who you are. One of the biggest regrets people have is not living authentically sooner. How many times have you looked back and thought, why didn't I speak up? Why did I go along with something I didn't believe in? Why didn't I follow my passion when I had the chance? Regret stems from missed opportunities to honor our true selves. The job you stayed in because it felt safe. The dream you abandoned because it didn't seem practical. The relationships you held onto, even when they no longer served you. Each of these moments adds to a quiet, gnawing feeling that you've been living someone else's life instead of your own. The pain of this realization often grows louder over time, but it's never too late to change. The first step is recognizing where you've been compromising and committing to a different path. If you feel stuck, trapped by societal expectations, family obligations, or the pressure to maintain a certain image, you're not alone. So many people live their lives checking off boxes: the career, the relationship, the house, the achievements. Yet, they still feel unfulfilled. Why? Because those boxes often reflect what society values, not what they value. Authenticity isn't about rejecting everything society offers. It's about discerning what truly matters to you and having the courage to pursue it, even if it goes against the grain. Ask yourself, what am I doing because it's expected of me, not because I want to? What parts of my life feel aligned with my values? What parts don't? What would my life look like if I stopped living for others and started living for myself? Answering these questions isn't easy, but it's a critical step toward reclaiming your authenticity. Once we commit to authenticity, the next challenge is turning that commitment into action. Living authentically isn't just a mindset, it's a practice. It requires courage, consistency, and a willingness to make bold choices. Committing to authenticity is a powerful decision, but it's only the beginning. The real transformation happens when we turn that commitment into consistent action, when our values begin to shape our daily routines. This isn't about dramatic overhauls or unrealistic expectations. Instead, it's about starting small, building habits that align with who we are, and letting those habits grow over time. The good news is that change doesn't require hours of effort or monumental sacrifices. Even a few minutes a day can make a profound difference. Let's explore 5 simple, actionable practices that can help you move closer to the life you want, one small step at a time. 5. Actionable tips for small, sustainable habits. Start your day with a 5-minute journal practice. Dedicate 5 minutes each morning to writing down 3 things you're grateful for and one small goal for the day. Gratitude shifts your mindset toward positivity, while setting a goal creates focus and intention. Behavioral psychologists highlight the power of implementation intentions. Simply planning when and how you'll act increases the likelihood of follow-through. For example, write, "Today, I'll spend 10 minutes organizing my workspace after breakfast." Anchor a new habit to an existing routine. One of the easiest ways to build a new habit is to attach it to something you already do. This is called habit stacking, a technique popularized by behavioral experts like James Clear. For example, while brushing your teeth, you could spend those 2 minutes practicing mindfulness by focusing on your breath. Or, after brewing your morning coffee, take a moment to stretch or do a quick, deep breathing exercise. End your day with a 5-minute reflection. Spend the last 5 minutes of your day reflecting on what went well and what could improve. This practice, inspired by cognitive behavioral techniques, helps you identify patterns and reinforce positive actions. Write down one small win from the day and one lesson learned. Over time, this simple habit cultivates self-awareness and sets the stage for growth. Use micro breaks for mindful movement. Throughout your day, take 5-minute breaks to move your body and reset your mind. Behavioral studies show that short physical activities, like stretching or walking, can significantly improve focus and reduce stress. For example, set a timer every hour to stand up, stretch, or take a quick walk around your space. These small moments of movement can re-energize you and prevent burnout. Replace one small negative habit with a positive one. Identify one habit that isn't serving you, maybe scrolling endlessly on social media or grabbing unhealthy snacks when stressed. Replace it with a healthier alternative, like reading a page of a book or sipping water. Behavioral research emphasizes that small habit substitutions are more effective than trying to quit something cold turkey. The key is to make the replacement enjoyable so that it becomes a natural choice. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the idea of changing your habits, you're not alone. It's easy to believe that transformation requires massive effort or perfect consistency, but research shows the opposite. Starting small is the most effective way to create lasting change. When you focus on small, manageable steps, you lower the barrier to entry. This reduces resistance and builds momentum, making it easier to stick with new habits over time. Psychologists call this the snowball effect. Small wins create a sense of accomplishment, which motivates you to keep going. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's to show up, even in small ways, and let those efforts compound into meaningful results. Each of these tips is grounded in behavioral science. Habit stacking leverages existing routines to create new patterns. James Clear, Atomic Habits. Gratitude practices enhance well-being by training the brain to focus on positive experiences. Robert Emmons, University of California. Reflection helps consolidate learning and build self-awareness. Carol Dweck, Mindset. Micro breaks combat cognitive fatigue and improve productivity. Harvard Business Review studies. These strategies aren't just effective, they're also practical, even for the busiest lives. By incorporating these small daily habits, you're laying the foundation for bigger changes over time. These practices aren't just tools for self-improvement, they're stepping stones to a more authentic, intentional life. This brings us to the final piece of the puzzle: making growth an adventure. Let's explore how embracing challenges and reframing setbacks can turn the journey of personal development into one of discovery and excitement. The path to healing and self-improvement doesn't demand perfection or drastic overnight transformations. Instead, it starts with mindful, purposeful actions, simple steps that connect with your values and integrate smoothly into your everyday life. By understanding the roots of trauma and habits, practicing mindfulness, exploring innovative strategies, and committing to authenticity, you're equipping yourself with the tools to create meaningful change. These practices aren't about quick fixes. They're about cultivating a life that feels genuine, purposeful, and aligned with who you truly are. As you integrate these daily practices into your routine, remember this: every small effort counts. Each mindful choice, each moment of reflection, and each habit you build takes you closer to the life you want to live. Growth isn't a destination, it's an ongoing process, and the rewards are in the journey itself. Now it's your turn. Start small. Pick one habit from today's discussion and commit to trying it for the next week. Whether it's practicing gratitude, taking a mindful break, or replacing a negative habit with a positive one, begin where you are. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who might benefit. Join the conversation in the comments. What's one habit you're excited to try? Your journey could inspire someone else to take their first step. Remember, change doesn't happen all at once, but it begins the moment you decide to start. Take that first step today, and let's grow together.